US suggested his country would never be allowed to join NATO. That is until now. This is the moment Zelensky hit back.
Many leaders have talked about Europe that needs its own military, an army of Europe.
So Ukraine calls for a European army to be formed. Of course, Europe is not a single country like the US or China. It's a group of over 30 little countries. But what other European leaders are thinking in their head, Zelensky is now saying out loud. Probably because he's under extreme pressure, his nation is about to collapse as we know it. The idea of a European army translates to a new military alliance in Europe without America, not NATO. Now, looking at the geopolitics, why would a European military alliance even be needed? Simple answer. Russia. The great Russian bear has provided the threat of being effective against even a US-backed, Western powers-backed nation in the form of Ukraine. And therefore, the great Russian bear has proved that it has the economic and military ability to force the hand of the Western powers, a reality that Western Europe is still grappling with as I speak right now. Russia invaded Ukraine, citing their own red lines being breached as justification. It's, by the way, a bit silly and definitely biased to call the Russian invasion of Ukraine an illegal, unjustified war. What war is legal then? What invasion is legal? Is it only legal, is it only justified when America and her friends and allies do it? Because I'm not for that life, okay? I speak English. I'm in the Anglosphere, the English-speaking world, but I am not pro-West. I don't like using the Western spin. You know, you guys might be listening to my content specifically because I am like that. I'm speaking in English, but I'm giving you the neutral or unbiased analysis of various situations. Calling the Russian war illegal, unjustified is disingenuous, especially when compared to, say, America and the UK participating and supporting conflict in the Middle East, specifically historic Palestine, Iraq, need I mention, Afghanistan, need I mention, anyway. So Russia invaded Ukraine, citing their own red lines being breached, and in response, NATO backed the non-NATO state of Ukraine and attempted to halt, potentially cripple Russia. With America now speaking to Russia on terms of a peace deal that favors the Eastern Bear, it's clear that NATO have failed and Russia has won. Not a total victory, fine, okay, I will give that caveat. Russia did, after all, make a dive for Kyiv right at the start, the capital of Ukraine early on, attempting basically to take control of the entire country. And then they could do whatever they wanted and the war would not be such a long-lasting, such a costly affair for both sides. But they failed at that. And they were fought back out of the Ukrainian capital. But a Russian victory nonetheless is what is happening now. I'll mention the economic implications of recent Russian advances in my next video, by the way. They've taken some territory that further cements the hollowing out of the Ukrainian state. Economically, Russia now owns the majority of the mineral deposits in eastern Ukraine. In the long term, this will be extremely important. Lithium deposits, as well as other rare earth elements, are under Russian control now, the Ukrainian deposits. And obviously, we know that Ukraine as a state is floated the idea, is flirting with the idea, and in some cases has already done, confirmed the idea of selling the Western Ukrainian rare earth element deposits to the United States. So basically, one side is taking your deposits, the other side you're giving the deposits to them, formally, of your own free will. Your people are left with no deposits of their own then. So Russia beat Ukraine, and Western European nations may decide that a new alliance, perhaps led by the big three in Europe, Germany, the UK and France, is what is needed to deter Russia in the future from further aggression. Reliance on the US, after all, is becoming more and more tenuous, more and more unreliable. Bruv, the US's own allies are now, in danger, under threat from US economic attacks and potentially military attacks, with Denmark being told, yes, military is not out of the question. If we want Greenland, we're going to flip and take Greenland. Canada, Mexico, literally America's immediate neighbors being told, yes, we need to put tariffs on you guys. It doesn't matter if your economies stumble heavily, potentially even collapse, no problem for us. America first, America first. So not reliable. If you're a European head of state, America's looking less and less reliable these days. The NATO alliance, as an alliance, is more exposed now than ever, as America makes it clear that NATO serves the US interest in Europe. What's good for the US in Europe is what NATO is all about. No European interest is prioritized or in some cases taken into account. This is, by the way, expected. What's happening now, this unifying of Europe and the severing ties, or the weakening ties initially at least, between Europe and America. It's why I expected what analysts far superior to me expected. Historical ties can only take you so far, and yes, America is historically tied to Europe because America is mostly a country of European migrants and their descendants. But the world is no longer unipolar, meaning America and its friends and allies rule the world basically, and everyone else is basically just like crumbs on the side. That's not the world order anymore. The world is headed towards a multipolar world order, and the three most likely poles, the three most heavy economic and military blocks likely to emerge, are the power blocks of China by itself, the United States by itself, and a united Europe in that order of power. Whether or not that third one, a united Europe, does emerge remains to be seen, because of course there is the beast of the East, the Russia question to address. What will Europe do to react to Russia? Will there be a unification that includes Russia? Will Germany break ranks from Western European powers and tie itself to Russia, forming a European alliance between Russia and Germany and some other powers within the Russian-German sphere of influence, and then France and the UK are left out in the cold? Or perhaps all of Europe, including Russia, will form a new independent, relatively independent bloc, a pole, to match China and the US. Time will tell how things turn out. It's an exciting time, it has to be admitted. We hope, of course, that lives are not lost in the geopolitical upheaval that comes about as a result of a world shifting from unipolarity to multipolarity. This has rarely ever happened. This kind of globalization we live in now, and the unipolarity that America enjoyed, the global domination America enjoyed, has never happened. The closest equivalent was the British Empire, but even then, Britain was one of the great powers of Europe. There were other great powers. Now, we just came out of a period of time where America was absolutely uncontested, and even now, in many things, America has a strong hold of the reins, of a horse. America has a very strong hold on a variety of different technologies and industries, and therefore what's about to happen, we're not too sure. But I, as a geopolitical analyst, will keep up to date with the latest and the greatest, and keep you informed with the unbiased news and analysis. See you on the next one.